Money, money, money. We all want it. We even actually started a second channel to help you out. It's called Ideal Money. If you're like me, you don't have a lot of it. So you got to make your pennies go pretty far. And you kind of have to trick people into thinking that you do have money. So what's up guys? I'm Brad Danger, and today we are going over 10 cars that you can buy on the cheap and will make you look like you are a high roller. And this includes some really fun ideas and a car that's brand spanking new and cheap, and it will make you look filthy rich. Oh, and the last car, well, it's really cheap, and I bet a lot of you already have owned one. So buckle up and let's go. What we're gonna do here is we're gonna start with the most expensive and then work our way down to something that's less than 5 grand. Yeah, you heard it right, less than 5,000 bucks. And I wanna start you guys off with probably the biggest surprise. If you have around $34,000, or you can qualify for a loan for that much, and you really want people to think you have all the money in the world, well, you grab a Mercedes. Yeah, no, you heard me right. If you want to look rich, just tell people the God honest truth. You just bought a brand new Mercedes-Benz. Now, you don't have to tell them that it's a CLA, AKA the entry-level Merc, or that it's front-wheel drive and costs less than 35 grand. All you gotta do is show them the badge or your key fob. And most people on the street won't even question it. They'll just go, damn bro, you just bought a brand new Benz? I wonder what I gotta do to be that amazing. Well, just don't let them in on our little secret, because the Mercedes is a bit, well, has a rep of kind of being something for old people and their parents. So if you want to convince people that you got new money, well, you grab a Tesla. And it's actually kind of hard to believe since the Model S was so insanely difficult to pick up when it came out. And now it has fallen into one of our lists. Yet here it is. It turns out that used Teslas are pretty cheap. And even though they represent the future of luxury, the future will depreciate just like any other luxury option. Here's one we found for around 27 grand. And all you gotta do is roll up in it, rev your engine. Oh wait, that wouldn't make a sound. Well, then just tell people that you work on computers or something. Build apps, you know, like you built Tinder, the swipe right function. That's a good one. And there's gonna be no one on earth that won't believe that you're some Bay Area tech genius. But I know a lot of you guys subscribed here to Ideal Cars, and if you're not, go hit that subscribe button and turn on that notification bell. You like gas cars and you haven't given up on them yet. And we thank you for that. And I've been known to like kicking it old school too, which is why I can personally recommend buying a Porsche, specifically the 996 generation. And if you've been around for a little while, you know that on some cheap car lists, we usually recommend the Cayman or even the Boxster. I mean, the Boxster. Because let's be honest, these are actually really cheap. But this list is all about looking rich. And we wanna face the facts. The Boxster, it just has too much of a rep. People will know when you roll up in this little inexpensive Porsche. The 911, however, is so iconic that people will just assume that you bought it new and have been keeping it in your collection for decades. And specifically the 996, which has those polarizing headlights, is really the most affordable 911 ever. Plus, Porsche people are gonna give you that Porsche nod thing, which if anyone catches the back and forth, they'll probably think that you're in the in group. Ask me how I know. I mean, I don't own just one, I own 2. And they are one of the best driving cars ever, and people definitely think I'm way richer than I am. So how much money do you need to join the Porsche club? Well, $20-ish thousand, and that's the price of a new Miata. So which one would you rather have? I would take the Porsche, but the only problem is that when you park it valet in front of the hotel, they're gonna take it around back. But the 996 is the perfect candidate for the Ideal Car strategies, because you could be driving your ideal P car with $0 out of your pocket. Yeah, I built these strategies. And I built them to teach people like you and like me the proper way to leverage financing, negotiate like a pro, and understand when to sell your car for a premium. So if you want to see if it's something for you, sign up for my free webinar where I teach you the 7 secrets to make money driving your dream car by clicking up here. And the best part is that most members in the paid curriculum have already bought their first ideal car without using any of their own money. That's because they learned the proper way to finance. So when they buy that 996 911 today, in 6 or 7 months, they can level up into an F80 M3 or even a Nissan GTR. And that's because they understand the proper way to buy the ideal spec cars, which is one of the many things that I teach in the curriculum. So if you want to learn more, click the link down in the description and learn the proper way to drive an ideal car. I mean, life's too short to drive boring cars. So click the link down in the description to learn more about the proper way to drive an ideal car. And like I was saying, the 996 isn't gonna get you valeted in front of the hotel. If you want that, you better take a look at Maserati, AKA the most depreciated brand ever. Now, you know that we can't mention looking rich on a budget without mentioning Maserati. You know it was coming. Like, you probably clicked the link expecting to see at least 1 and maybe 2 in this video. So, who are we to disappoint? Now, if you really want a great driving car with a Ferrari engine, well, you get the Gran Turismo. But if you want something that is super posh and super cheap, you get the Quattroporte. I guarantee that no one will ever think that you didn't pay supercar prices for it. I mean, just say Quattroporte. It sounds exotic. And the exhaust note, well, it's definitely exotic. Plus, pop the door and look at that leather interior. It's gonna impress whoever you decide to take on a date. All that for $17,000? That's like 90% off MSRP. And with savings like that, you won't just look rich, you'll look smart. Except then when all of a sudden it's one of the most unreliable cars that you ever owned, and you pay so much to your mechanic that you help put both of his kids through school. And since we're on the topic of unreliable paperweights, if you want to look legitimately Beverly Hills rich, like 90210 rich, you need a range. Yeah, a Range Rover. And SUVs are pretty much a staple of modern moneyed individuals because being comfortable is often the #1 thing to look for. Have you ever gone to a movie premiere? Me neither, but I guess there's a bunch of Escalades, Yukons, a couple Lamborghini Uruses, and even Range Rovers. Now, Land Rover is not known for, well, being reliable in any way. I mean, just ask Squid. But you roll up in one and your friends will expect you to buy lunch every time and twice on Sundays, even though you just spent your last 15 grand on the SUV. So you better stick with Wendy's because I know that 4 for $4 has saved my butt a few times, like once or thrice. The one thing with Range Rovers is they don't turn a lot of heads. And if you want that and like nothing else, Audi has you covered. The Audi A8 has just entered the chat, or this list. And it's Audi's flagship luxury car, and it's meant to stare down the legendary Mercedes sedans, and it is very nice. There's a V8 under the hood, top tier German interior, and exterior styling that is difficult to pin an age onto. It's basically the perfect car for feeling like a trust fund kid without actually being a trust fund kid at all. Sounds like me. And all you really need, in fact, is 10 large, thanks to our friend depreciation. A car that started out costing the same as a condo can be yours for less than what your buddy paid for his used Accord. Now, A8s are also roomy enough to haul you and all your friends around. But what if you have a dog that needs to go to the groomer too? Well, you stay with the Germans and you pick up a BMW X5. This is another vehicle that isn't fast or showy or even really interesting. But like the Range Rover, it's not about standing out. It's about doing the one thing that actual wealthy people do, and that's to prioritize comfort and brand identity. BMW, it's prestigious, and the X5 is amazingly comfortable. Oh, and they are really cheap used. You can probably find one that fits your budget no matter what your budget even is. Even better, the older ones tend to be more reliable. not really reliable, but more reliable than the newer ones. And these rigs can cost less than $10,000, which is good because you'll have more money for repairs or for a season's pass up at the mountains. Yet still people see it and go, wow, that's a nice BMW. Yet I think that we can one-up the X5 and make you feel like $1 million for even less cash. Did you know that you can find a used limo for like $5,000 pretty much every day of the week? Okay, here's how you do it, because I researched this for maybe 2 minutes. You buy a used Lambo, then you get your friends to sit in the back, you drive it to the event, your friends get out and establish the scene, you go park and sneak into the event and hang out with your friends. I bet 60% of the time this works every time. And people will think that you're important because, well, you just showed up in a limo with a bunch of people getting out. And it's really hard to top that if your goal is to look rich. And you can really find them for next to nothing. Here's one we found on Craigslist for $6,000, and it actually looks like it's in pretty good condition. I get it. What if you don't even have $5,000, but you still want to look like you have fat stacks? Well, you get a G35. Now, the manual G35 is the drift diamond in the rough. It's basically the legendary 350Z with a fancy jacket. The problem is that they've all been snatched up and they're nearly impossible to find with a clean title now. But drift kids don't want automatics. They nicknamed them Auto Tragics, or maybe I did. But anyway, it's true. And that means the drift tax only applies to the manual G35s. So what does that mean for you and me? It means that we can get fantastic luxury for not a whole lot of money. Plus that legendary VQ motor, and it actually is kind of a decent automatic, can be yours or mine for less than $4,000. And this is a clean one with less than 100,000 miles on it. But if you're willing to do even more research and find one with even higher mileage, you can definitely find one for like 3,000 bucks. I mean, how's that for ideal? I know. And I'm not gonna bore you with asking you to subscribe if you're new here by hitting that subscribe button and turning on that notification bell, or if you liked the video, hit the like button. Instead, I'm just gonna thank you for watching it and tell you that I'm tempted by those Maserati Quattroportes, except I know it's a bad idea. But hey, it's people like you guys that make this even possible for us to make videos for you. So thank you for all the continued support. This was another fun Ideal video to bring to you. Definitely go check out the Ideal Car Strategies if you wanna join like-minded individuals like you and me and learn how to level up with each consecutive Ideal car purchase. And even if that isn't for you, well, do one thing for me. Keep living the Ideal lifestyle.